Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Hubitat Live. I'm your host, Pete Borchers. It's been a long time, guys. It's been a long time. And as you know, nothing's happened with Hubitat or the world since we've been on there last. But so I don't even know why we're doing this show. No, it's good to have you guys. Good to have you guys back. We have thousands and thousands of new owners since our last show. And I want to introduce for you guys the rest of the gang here tonight. We have Bruce and Mike joining us here on the show. Say hi, guys.
Everybody, or just...
Okay, we're back now. Looks like the stream is it's back.
No, it's working. He says it's working.
Hey, we're back. Hey, welcome to Hubitat Live, everybody. My name is Pete Borchers, and we got Bruce here and Mike, and we have a perfect show. Yeah.
Shock me. With no technical glitches
at all, ever. We talked about this. I said I was going to make the glitches so you all look amazing. So you're welcome, Bruce and Mike. We're back. Hey, check this out. We'll blast them with the intro music, and that'll be good. So, okay. No, we are back. So welcome to the show. We were talking, like you heard my intro, but Bruce wanted to tell us about what's been going on with Hubitat and about how he's going to fire me after the show's over. So... Bruce, why don't you
Okay. All right, so back to the beginning. So in March, when COVID hit, we didn't really know what to expect. We'd already seen a little bit of impact in our Chinese manufacturing partner because the Chinese New Year got extended. It's usually like 3 weeks or something, but it turned into 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, and things were kind of weird there, and we didn't really know what to expect. So when it really hit in the U.S., we were sitting around with bated breath, wondering what the impact was going to be. And frankly, there wasn't a great deal for us in the company. We're all social distanced all the time anyway because we're each in a different state, and we all work at home. And so the personal impact wasn't so much. But then, so things were kind of chunking along. But we realized that we needed to get some shipments out of China, so the first thing we noticed was lead times for parts into China suddenly went through the roof, and our normal supply chain was suddenly not so normal anymore, and things weren't going to work quite the way we expected. And then on top of that, 6th, Wink announced that they were putting a subscription in for all of their customers, and all hell broke loose. So suddenly we had just a flood of orders, and our best laid plans about inventory and supply and all of that just kind of went out the window, and we were completely sold out of stock within about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Everything just went. And this was at the same time that we were hearing from our manufacturer that their lead times had gone through the roof, and so we weren't going to get any more hubs very soon, and so we were just kind of stuck. Well, we had plenty of work to do. We were trying to finish up our Z-Wave certification, and it was already by May. It was already 5 months beyond what we had expected our schedule to be. And there was no end in sight. It proved to be the most difficult project that we've ever undertaken. I think it about killed Mike Maxwell.
Yeah, how was that for you, Mike?
Well, it was kind of gnarly, and I do have to say though that shout out to Silicon Labs. They helped us out, both with respect to the certification and getting through that, and also with respect to getting supply of Zigbee and Z-Wave modules into China, which had been problematic. It's interesting that international shipping just really fell apart. And today, it's still a big mess. Shipping rates between China and the United States are running 3 times what they were a year ago to get across the Atlantic, running twice what it was a year ago. And there's still a ton of uncertainty on everybody's part about what they're facing on the supply chain side we had a large OEM customer who's faced the same thing, that suddenly lead times for mundane things like power supplies just went bonkers, just went crazy.
Right.
So, that's been a hurdle for us. Well, anyway, so come July, we got a new shipment of C7s in, and we got out a 2.22 release, which was a little rough around the edges. We were still finishing up Z-Wave certification, and in all fairness, Z-Wave didn't work as well as it should have when we first shipped the C7 hub, and we quickly struggled with what became the 223 release. And 223, I think it got to 148 builds or something, 145 or 148, I forget which. But that was a very difficult body of work for us to try to get Z-Wave up on its feet. The irony of all this was while we were in certification, we're like the first people doing a 700 certification, or the second. The testing lab that was testing us for certification had never done it before. There were a whole new set of requirements that nobody had ever had to meet before except us. And along the way, we discover bugs in software from Silicon Labs and in firmware in the Z-Wave modules. I mean, it was just a big party of fun left and right. But we managed to overcome that. We managed to get the Z-Wave firmware update working, and the Z-Wave stack to be pretty much hanging together the way it should. Still, though, in 2.2.3, which is the current released build, it's not where it should be. So we, for the past, 6 weeks at least, have been working really hard on 2.2.4.
Yeah.
I should say, point out that when we shipped the C7 back in July, they started flying out the door. We were shipping literally thousands of them. It was crazy, and we were able to get some help through establishing some reseller relationships around the world. We've got a number of resellers in Europe, and UK, Ireland, Canada, and the US. There are a few.
And they're not just these aren't just resellers selling to individual DIYers like our audience necessarily. I mean, they're selling interesting projects and things like this too, right?
Well, yeah, we've got a large collection of commercial customers who are using our hub in things like apartment buildings, long-term care homes, and things of that ilk. We have OEM customers who are using the hub in non-home automation applications.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, we had a whole other set of problems that we were struggling with that we've been working on for the past year. If you're going to deploy 500 hubs, and we've got an OEM customer who buys hubs by the 500 or 1,000 at a time, you're not about to want to go into each one of those hubs and set it up. So we had to develop some tools to enable that to happen, and those have been coming along nicely over the past year, and there's a major release of that in our 2.2.4 release. So anyway, that's kind of what's been going on, and kind of gets us up to 2.2.4.
Yeah, I mean that new product you're talking about, being able to program hubs in a mass scale. I mean, that is really going to be critical for a lot of people that are trying to get into this market. So I've seen that; it's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, some of this we've been doing it for a while, and the people that were deploying hubs into apartment buildings needed it first, and that started just about a year ago. And the tool set has grown since then as we've understood the need better. Our OEM customer who wanted at first to do 500 hubs, I mean, that had raised the bar about how we have to do this stuff, and so anyway, that's another aspect of our business that probably most of our retail customers are unaware of.
Right, but hopefully it becomes an even bigger part of what we do. But I think the people want to hear about 2.2.4, Bruce. What do we have in 2.2.4?
All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. Boom. Here we go. So this is in our beta in the community. I just wanted you to see how massive this 224 release is, how much stuff there is in it. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And I'm going to come back and go through a little bit of this with you guys in a little more detail. Maybe I'll touch on some of it right now. I think one of the biggest areas and the most important to me certainly has been all of this stuff we're doing in Z-Wave. And we've moved Z-Wave well down the road from what it is in 223. There's a whole new set of diagnostics for Z-Wave. Z-Wave repair has been completely rebuilt. It's very, very strong now. It works really well. Mm-hmm. So this has been a huge area for us, just to get Z-Wave to the point where we want our Z-Wave implementation to be the best in the world. And we've made a big stride towards that in this 224 release. We're not done. We have more work to do, but it's really getting to be quite strong. We did a bunch of work in dashboard that you're going to see that has to do with security of dashboards, and also a cool new feature, which is to be able to put out a dashboard per user. They get their own access token. It can be revoked later. They can pick up that the link to use the dashboard through a QR code. They take their phone and point it at the. I can probably even show you that.
Hey Bruce, a quick question as you're going through. Some of these are for C7 only, and some of them are for all models, correct?
Yeah, all the Z-Wave stuff. We're talking C5 and C7. So the dashboard stuff and all of that.
Obviously, there's some dedicated driver patches and whatnot for C7s as well, but we've noted those in the release notes.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
Let's see if I can. Let's see here. Maybe I can show you the dashboard thing real quick, because that's kind of cool. Where's Hubitat dashboard? Right here. Per user dashboards. Pick a dashboard I want to share with Pete.
Please do. I'm not the only one having technical problems around here.
Huh?
I said I'm not the only one having technical problems around here.
There we go. So you get these QR codes. You just take your phone and you zap the QR code, and boom, you have a dashboard. And then later on, I can take Pete and get him out of there.
Bruce, I'm not seeing anything. I'm just seeing the release notes on the screen right now.
Oh, you're not seeing anything. Oh, well, that's very interesting. That sharing's not working. Sorry. That's really too bad. I may have to reconfigure here to get sharing to work right. There, now can you see? You're just still seeing release notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mouse.
And the mouse. Okay, well, that's unfortunate that screen sharing is not working right. I'll just keep on going through this. So we did a bunch of stuff in dashboard. We've reworked the user interface for simple automation rules. It has a whole new bunch of features as well. And you know what? If I've got this problem, maybe we ought to do Mike's segment, and maybe I could get this to work better so I could actually demo some of this.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan. So Bruce is going to figure that out. And Mike, are you ready?
Yes.
Ready? Okay, hold on. We got.
Yes.
It's time for product of the week, you guys. Oh, hold on. Why is this not? There we go. Hold on. There we go. Product of the week. There it is. There it is. Here's our great bumper. Product of the week. Okay, Mike. Why don't you share with us your product of the week?
You got to cut over to Dev Bunny there, Buster.
Yep, we're on it.
Okay, so yeah, obviously we've been real busy, so we haven't really spent a whole lot of time, doing new devices or whatnot. But I did see some chat in the community about these little guys, the Sonoff, or Is that what it's called? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Sonos, right? These are the Zigbee ones that they've got. So I picked up everything I could find from them, which was a switch, which is this guy, a little button switch, and a humidity temperature sensor, right? And what looks like some sort of weird alien spaceship, but in fact is a motion detector, and then a contact sensor. So I picked up all of these, and they do behave properly, and they do work, and they're all like $16. None of them are Zigbee certified, and as you guys know, I'm like, okay, so what? If the thing works like it's supposed to, it doesn't really matter to me. But they are inexpensive. I will say, however, that these are amongst potentially the ugliest devices I've ever seen in my freaking life. I don't know what. Okay, so I mean, okay, this is a Xiaomi, right? And granted, these guys just can't seem to get Zigbee right, but I don't understand, why is it so hard to do this? Why can't somebody that can write the firmware properly, like these guys, why can't you put it in a case like this? Anyway, so we now support these.
So,
I will say that the first challenge. What's that?
What if you want a space alien looking device in your house? Maybe you're a big fan.
These things look like crap. I mean, okay, for $17, I don't know what you're supposed to expect, right? But I mean, if I took this downstairs, I can hear my wife, Christy's downstairs, laughing at this already. I already know what she's going to say if I told her, hey, honey, guess what? I saved about $10 a piece on the 2,000, motion detectors we've got in the house. Can I put these up in their place? She'd freaking kick me out of the house, and she'd be throwing this shit after me. Well,
Mike, I'll tell you, someone in the comments, Randy says he put it in his cat litter box to let him know when the cat...
That's perfect. Okay, so they do, like I said, they do work. I said one of the most frustrating things with it, okay, is I'm going to show you how to open it, and this is the only one that actually opens easily. Okay, you got to kind of wedge your fingernails in here, and then you got to freaking pry the thing, and it sounds like it's going to break, and then you get it open, right? When you go put it back together, there's a couple of arrows in there, and if you don't line up the arrows, you can see them up here, then the whole thing goes sideways. It goes pear-shaped and sideways. Now, having said that, to get into all these other ones, you need to find this little tiny thing right there, and then you need to take a screwdriver, and you need to ferociously jam it in there until you manage to pop the thing open.
Don't hurt yourself. We need those fingers.
Then you get to the battery. So anyway, so the only other one I wanted to show you was the inside of the contact sensor, and look what's in there. There's these guys aren't making their own stuff, obviously. Uh-huh. And the manufacturer the manufacturer name that comes up when we do the join, they're not certified either. But you can see that, they bought this from someone who actually cared about the shape of the case, because this would have been a much nicer case, right? This little guy in here.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Look how small this is, right?
Listen, Mike, when you spend $17 on something, you want people to know you have it. You need a nice, big, bulky-looking thing to let people know. I don't know why you'd want that, but do they work, Mike? Do they work?
You mean this? Is this what you're talking about? Is this the right situation, Pete? Is this the right situation?
You need a separate room for that.
Yes. To answer your question, they do work. Okay. So from that perspective, if you don't care what they look like, now I don't have a whole lot of, I don't have, battery statistics on them or anything like that. I can't tell you. They seem to behave pretty well. I didn't see them taken off. I don't have long-term, usage on them. But the folks that have these in the community haven't been complaining about them taking off to the Netherlands. So, I suspect for $16 or $17, you really can't go wrong. But like I said, you have to understand that there's something that probably only their mother loves. So anyway, that's what I got for you.
Well, that is awesome, Mike. Thank you for that. And so they work. Maybe not your most recommended device, but and
they work. And I try to keep my eye out for sensors that are inexpensive, because these things are, a good sensor is going to cost you. They've come down a little bit in the past few years, but they're still $35 to $50 a shot.
Right.
So, if you can make some compromises from an aesthetic point of view, that's not a bad option for sensors.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for that. That was what was the device? That was Sonoff again?
Sonoff. Sonoff.
Sonoff. So there.
Yeah, and they make these are the Zigbee ones. Don't get them confused with the Wi-Fi ones.
Right. Yeah. We want to keep it with the Zigbee, people. No Wi-Fi. Yep. So that's your product of the week. Here
we might look at supporting the Wi-Fi ones through whatever that is, Tomatsu or whatever I forget what it is. At some point, we might support the Wi-Fi ones, but right now it's just a Zigbee.
Okay. Yeah, very cool, very cool. So thank you, Mike. We'll run the bumper music again. The product of the week. There we go. All right. So Bruce, with our little product interlude, are we back? Are you ready to show us some?
I hope. Let's see if it works.
Okay.
Okay. You see in my.
Yay!
All right. So I've got a user, Pete, and I'm going to pick a dashboard for him.
Oh, I love my breakfast dashboard.
Your breakfast dashboard, and now I'm going to put that dashboard to you, and I get these QR link codes, and you just point your phone at it, and boom, you've got that dashboard. And then later on, after I fired you for blowing up Hubitat Live, then I can remove this dasher. Pete no longer gets breakfast around here, man. It's like, boom, gone. So that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great especially for renters and things, right, Bruce?
For what?
For like renters, if you're renting, if you have a
or a contractor who's coming or something, and each of these dashboards gets its own access token, so you can revoke a user from a dashboard, and everybody else that's using that dashboard goes on using it. It works really well. So let's see, what else can simple automation.
Simple automation,
rules.
Yeah.
Let's just bring that up real quick.
Did you complicate it, Bruce?
No, I added some stuff.
Wait a minute.
I should mention that we now have device firmware updater.
What was that first app? What was that first app? Can we just roll that back?
No, we're not doing that, Mike.
Okay.
So, device firmware updater is a cool thing that's going to grow over time, where we can load firmware into devices to update them. And let's see, we move down here. We got simple automation rules, and it's got a little bit of a dusted off user interface. That's not good.
It'll come back.
Yeah. Well, it'll still let me show the UI, I think. So you got a whole bunch of stuff. We've got added some temperature, and I don't have enough. This hub's kind of naked. It doesn't really have much on it. Anyway, so simple automation rules has been dusted off, and it's got some new features. And there's another new app.
Are we going to the big one here, Bruce?
No, let's see. So thermostat controller.
Oh, right, thermostat controller.
Another new app that lets you add things like temperature sensors to an existing smart thermostat, so that it becomes a smarter thermostat. So that's thermostat controller.
What if I had, say, a bunch of hubs, Bruce, that I wanted to work together?
Well, Pete, you're just too intuitive. But before I do that, I want to show you a cool new feature in Rule Machine.
Oh, new feature in Rule Machine.
Rule Machine now has the ability to export and import rules, so you can share them with other people. And I'm going to import a rule that I saved earlier, a little simple rule here. So I'm importing this rule. And now I can go in, and one of the things I can do is substitute the devices. So I can change this device to that one, which, even though it says it's offline, and import it. And bingo, we'll get back to the app list. There it is. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think the biggest and coolest thing it's in 224.
We're gonna charge people for that one, right?
What? For what?
I'm just kidding.
Well,
see the value you guys get? I mean, who else does this for you?
All right. Well, anyway, so here is this new thing called, which we're not charging for either, called Hub Mesh.
Dun, da, da, da.
What?
I said I just gave a little music, little da da da
da.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Well, so Hub Mesh lets me share devices. In fact, I probably should go over to this other. Let's go over here to this other hub because it's got a lot of devices. So I go into Hub Mesh, and I can share any device I've got with other hubs that are in my on my LAN. So if I want to share my beams, my really cool beams, then I can share that to my other devices. And if I go back to this first one over here, it's going to show me those devices, I hope. It says it's loading. Well, this is Murphy's demo law. May or may not work first time.
Everything works.
Everything works. But anyway, that's the Hub Mesh. And the cool thing about Hub Mesh is that we're sending device events at the very basic level in the hub itself. There's no app. There are no drivers to install. It will work for any device and all of the attributes and commands of a device. And it's happening in a super efficient way so that you can link up multiple hubs and use them as one if that's something that makes sense for you. So that's it for Demo Land today. Here we go.
Well, that was awesome. I mean, if it's not our biggest release ever, it's right up there. I mean, we have a lot of stuff. And how many devices are here too, Mike, in this new release?
I don't know, 20 or 30 at least.
Yeah, so you'll see that in the release notes, and it's just impressive. So I just want to say, great job, Mike, and we've got some new team members too that have really, helped out and brought Hubitat to the next level. And it's
so
really
one thing, Pete, is that when we got Z-Wave certification done, it kind of freed us up. It's been an albatross around our neck for like a year. So getting that done and complete, it's freed up Mike and Brian and Victor and Ramon to really kick butt on some other things. Now, that's really cool. 224 has a lot of stuff in it. Unfortunately, it also does not have in it our new subscription service, Hub Protection. That's slipping to 225.
You've not forgotten about it. It is happening.
Well, we didn't forget about it. And, stuff happens and things take longer than they should. We've had to do more Z-Wave work. And I'm not going to make excuses, just that we didn't get our act together on sort of the shopping, buying the subscription, and that side of it. The service works, but some of the ancillary infrastructure is not quite ready. So that'll be in 225. And there'll be some other cool new stuff in 225 also.
Yes, and it's only going to be, what, $100 a month, I think, is what we decided on for that service.
Well, I thought it was more.
Okay.
I saw Ramon had it priced at $1,000 a day. No, there was a rate.
Right.
Well, anyway, it's coming.
Yeah. So, anyways, great release, great work, guys. And unless you guys have anything else, we've kind of hit our time. And I just want to say thanks to you guys. Thanks to everyone watching. Thank you for sticking around. One of these days we'll have a good show that doesn't fall apart right away. But please subscribe to our channel if you would, and we'll have more of these coming out soon, and we'll practice, and it'll be good. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my night as I try to figure out what happened. And one last thing, don't forget to vote, right? Everybody should vote. And I'm sure tomorrow with the election will go just as smooth as this show did tonight. So with that, I say thanks once again. Say goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, Pete.
So thanks, guys, and we will see you all next time.
Very good.
Okay, we're out. Ugh.